Hey, y'all. Can you believe it? It's almost the end of the year. I'm so blown away by how fast it goes. Of course, we say that every single year, but it never ceases to amaze, right? So, anyway, I just want to thank you all so much for being a part of this journey since we started, I believe, in April. It was like mid-April when the first episode came out. And now, as I'm recording this, it's Tuesday, November 28th, and we are still going strong. And your support has really, truly meant so much, and I cannot even tell you. The comments, the 5 stars, and the downloads mean more than you know, because that's how we're able to measure that you guys are enjoying the podcast. So thank you for that. And before we get started on this episode, I want to run through some notes. Next week, we're going to have a PME update, a Pacific Marine Expo podcast update of basically the highlights that I ran into, and also discussing the panel that we had with Julie Kuchapatov of Seafood and Gender Equality. She was so gracious to dedicate her dockside chat to featuring the Partners of Commercial Fishermen community, and it was amazing, and I learned so much, and I'm really excited to share that with you. Some more next week for sure. And also, we're ending the year with a series that I'm calling the Dry December Sober Podcast Series. The first episode's gonna feature my story with alcohol and how I no longer drink anymore. And we have 2 other guests that are going to do the same, as well as we're going to go into the whole world of non-alcoholic beverages. I've been sampling those recently and met someone who knows so much. She's a connoisseur. I can't wait for you to hear about it. And then also we're going to hear from a POCF in our community, Monique Coombs, who y'all know and love. Many of you do. If you know her, you love her. And she is going to share her sober community that she has for the fishing community. And we are going to get down and real, basically. And that's how we're going to end this amazing, beautiful year. And then a shout out to the United Alaska Fishermen Summit, which is December 5th through 7th in Anchorage, Alaska. And they basically just hook you up with all kinds of goods to understand how to even tackle the commercial fishing lifestyle. So I'm reading the back of their card that I got at PME. It says it's a 3-day high-energy training and networking opportunity for new entrants of any age who are interested in learning more about owning and operating a commercial fishing business. Boom. There you go. And you can also visit alaskaseagrant.org/AYFS for more info. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for y'all to hear this next episode. It's with the founder of Tahma Boots. And I want you to know it's not sponsored. They are sending us boots. Chris can't wait to test them out to see if they really live up to the standard that they say, but it kind of seems like these boots are kind of epic. So I wanted to give y'all an open and honest interview with the CEO to see how they make these things possible. So anyway, I hope everyone's doing great out there. Thank you so much again for your time and support. And I love you. I'm sending all my love. And I'm always open to knowing how I can best support you. So you can always reach us at support@POCFpride.com or POCFpride.com for all the goodness on the blog. All right, till next time. Or actually, let's just dive into the episode. See y'all in there. I'm Megan Waldrop, host of the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast, an extension of an online community created for partners to connect worldwide, find helpful resources, and share stories to feel less alone in this incredibly unique and adventurous way of life. The POCF podcast invites fishermen, family, friends, supporters, or those curious to know more about the commercial fishing community to join conversations as we learn from each other, laugh, sometimes cry, and relate with those who are the faces behind each catch. What do you say? Let's dive in. Welcome to another episode of the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast. I'm Megan Waldrop, and today we have the founder of Tahma Boots, Bill Combs, who's going to explain this revolutionary boot that I'm very excited about. I do want to say that this is not a sponsored podcast. Bill has been kind enough to send my fisherman a pair that he's going to test out this season, and you guys will hear
a full testimonial about that on the blog to come. So want to be transparent about that. But I came across Tahma boots because I was leaving the Pacific Marine Expo with my suitcase in hand. I decided to take a left instead of go out the main entrance. And the last booth that I came up to was Tahma boots. And I spoke with Jim Fink, who was such a wonderful, very generous and passionate salesman, who was telling me all about these boots that sound almost too good to be true, but I feel like they actually are the more that I learn about them. So I'm excited to dive in with Bill today and learn how they made this magic. So Bill, thank you so much for being here.
Sure. Anytime.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, let's get down to just the basics. Where are you from and where are you now?
I was born in Kansas, but I moved to Oregon in 1961. I've been an Oregonian ever since. So
wonderful.
We ship out of Portland, but we live most of the time in Eugene.
Wonderful. I love Eugene. It's such a cool town. And so if you're also the founder of Boggs, which is a footwear company that people might also know. And I wanted to know, how did you grow your company from being an idea into this internationally viable brand? Like, how did this concept even come to life?
You talking about Boggs?
Well, let's talk about
Tahma or
your footwear, just your footwear background in general.
So I was, my family has been a long time family shoe retailer in Eugene. We have two better grade, I would say, comfort shoe stores, sell a lot of European brands. So we had that for a long time. And then we wanted to expand. And so we thought we'd go out and look for other locations. And the way we were going to do that is become manufacturers reps so we could go out and look around the territory. Anyway, the rep business grew and we, didn't open any more shoe stores, but we sort of fell into the wholesale rep business, and then met a guy who wanted to start a sandal company, but, had the factories, but didn't have any design. So we did the design for him. And I started the journey to go first in the Philippines and then Taiwan, Indonesia, and Thailand, and learned all about, shoe manufacturing, and kind of rode the sports sandal wave till about the middle of 97. And we split with our partner, and my wife and I opened our own office in China in 97, and continued to make sandals. But at the same time, we also were sourcing a lot of product for, if you have a Bass Pro Shop or a Cabela's or an Academy Sports and Outdoor, we were making a lot of snow boots for them, rubber boots, sandals, duck boots, and just pretty much anything. We were peddlers, we're shoe salesmen. And so then just by happenstance, I was in a factory in 2001-ish, and the factory owner had invested a lot of money in some tooling and some lasts and whatnot. And the guy who did the development with him left, and he asked if I could, do something with this product. And so we made some samples, brought them home, and there was a company in Portland called G.I. Joe's, and I knew, who's now defunct, but I knew the merchandiser really well. And I took the boots to her, and she said, "These are great," and wrote an order. And I drove down from Portland to Albany to Coastal Farm and Ranch, and went in, and they gave me an order, and we were off. And, literally shut myself in my office for a weekend to come up with the name. And my wife did the logo and the box, and, we were in business, and we just sort of grew, we just grew a lot. And the funny thing is it was on a real simple premise that we had 100% satisfaction forever guarantee. If we didn't care if a fisherman lost a boot overboard or a farmer got it tangled up in a piece of machinery, we sent him a new pair of boots. Our customer service people, all they had to say was yes. They never, would be able to say anything but yes, we'll take care of you. So we built, great relationships with our retailers and our consumers. I think I mentioned in my note to you that up until we were somewhere north of 20 million, I answered every consumer call about if their feet got cold, if the boots didn't fit, whatever. And and it's the same way with Tahma. I mean, if they have a question, my cell phone's out there, they can call me, and we're going to take care of them. So it was, Boggs was built on a pretty simple platform, and that's the same way, same way we're going to build Tahma, is that we think we've come up with technically a better product than what's out on the market today. But the backbone of it is, nobody's perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make bad shoes every now and then. But the thing is, we're going to be there to take care of you, and we care about the people that are wearing the boots. And so that's why we're off to a good start, because we just keep sending boots out to people and say, test them, give us feedback, good, bad, indifferent. We want to know, because at Boggs, our mantra was, make better boots every day, make better shoes every day. In fact, today, I've been, I had a pair of Tahmas in the freezer overnight, and I've been testing the slip resistance here in the wet weather here in Bend after being frozen. So, there's ways, we want to make something better all the time. So that's our story.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And for a lot of business owners out there, because there are a lot of commercial fishing families who are also business owners aside from the fishing business, I would love to know, how did the concept from the logo to making the box that one weekend that y'all just got after it, how were you able to grow your exposure? Where did that exponential growth come from? Was there something that stuck out more than others that was helpful for that?
So, we did all the trade shows, all the local regional shows. We had really good sales representation across the country. We built a really good sales force. Both my sons came to work for me and built out the sales force, and that really helped. And then I guess in 2006 or 7, my wife came up with the idea of doing prints on the boots, and our designer came up with the idea of putting handles on the boots. I don't know if you might be familiar with those wine totes called Built, but that's where that idea came from, was the handles, the neoprene with the handles. And that just blew things up, because we were basically farm and ag and industrial, and that put us into the outdoor lifestyle business. So that meant REI, all the Nordstrom stores across the country, better catalogs. That's what really gave us the exposure.
Wow. So taking that and turning it more into like bringing a little fashion element into it, and also that utility of the handles, because that probably is very unique. I don't know of another boot that does that.
Well, there are a lot of people have copied it since then, I can tell you that.
Okay.
but anyway, it's because
my blinders are on. I'm kidding.
anyway, yeah, that was sort of the I guess the springboard that really put us into everyday lifestyle, and that's where they've continued. That's where Boggs has really grown. Is I would call them performance outdoor, where Tahma is we're really industry specific, aimed at solving a problem of slip resistance and comfort. And that's what we're after. I don't think we'll ever be a fashion brand.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm a former fashion designer, so I'm sorry I just threw that name out, but we'll say form instead of fashion. Yeah. Form and function. Absolutely. Okay. So I learned about your experience as a sport fisherman, and that Boggs came after that experience with the fisherman. And I'd love to know, how you got in, what got you into just enjoying the fishing lifestyle, and then let me pause there and say, what got you into fishing? We'll start there. Tell me about your fishing experience.
Sure. So at retail, I had basically 2 guys who ran our retail business, because I was doing the wholesale thing, and they were avid fishermen. I mean, days off, evenings, fly fishing and, salmon fishing on the Oregon coast. And so as, bonuses or whatever, I would take them on fishing trips, a lot of fishing trips. Guided, not guided, out on the Pacific, off the Oregon coast, up in Alaska, Petersburg, Sitka. And don't get me wrong, I like fishing, but I'm a shoemaker at heart. So while they're doing the fishing gig, I'm talking to the boat captain and the guys working about their boots and what they like about them, what they don't like about them, and what would make them better and what surface they work on, and all those things. And then I'd go hang out at the dock before we would go and walk the guys walk down the ramp and ask them. They'd think I was weird. I'd say, what boot are you wearing and why do you like it? Or why don't you like it? So that's how I kind of got into the fishing thing.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And then, if I'm correct, you ran bogs for a while, then retired from that company. And during your retirement, you came up with a concept that you would later turn into Tahma boots, which now I'm pronouncing correctly, Tahma boots.
That's okay.
Yeah. Could you explain that process or that transition for you?
Yeah.
So you retired from bogs. And then what made you get back into the game? And not only that, but to go after commercial fishing, which is a completely different world than sport fishing, and also other very hardworking industries that deal with really grimy floors and all that good stuff. So what, essentially took you from drinking a pina colada on the beach retirement to, oh, wait, I'm going to use 12 years of my life to dedicate to research the best slip resistant boot?
So after, doing all the research with these fishing guys in 2010, we set out, while I was still at Boggs, that's why I still own Boggs actually, set out to develop this rubber compound, this rubber formula that would be the most slip resistant, the most chemical resistant ever developed. Well, not maybe, ever developed. And so we began that journey, and then, we would make rubber compounds, make molds, and in slip resistance, I vary the percentage, but it's about 50% design and 50% rubber formula. So we would make a design, make a formula, make boots, test, fail, test, fail. This went on for better part of 8 years or so. And when I retired, I asked the people who bought Boggs if I could take the project, and they were great people, and they said, sure, you've got all this time and all this work put into it, you can have it. And so I took it and continued to work with my technician in China and general manager. And I guess fall of 21, we got the test results that we've been striving for all this time. And we said, well, that's great, but that doesn't really mean it's great, but it doesn't mean anything until the boots are worn. So then we made a bunch of samples and put on fishermen, dairymen, and brewers, and because that's where the wet slip floors are. And again, the results came back that the guys loved the boots. And we had some naysayers, but basically universally people love the boots. And so we decided, after a lot of, I guess, hard thought about, do we go forward? We decided to go ahead and launch at the last Pacific Marine Expo in November of 22. And we had really good response, and we delivered boots, and the rest we hope is history.
That's great. That's great. So can you take us through the process of developing, each stage of your prototype? I know we don't have to go through 12 years, but I would love to know, once you have a concept and you're tweaking it, how long does it take from that idea to have it manufactured, to have it tested, to have then going back to the drawing board? What is the time?
Sure. Yeah. So we had the outsole design, which, an outsole design for in a case, a typical designer would take maybe 2-3 weeks to come up with. And so what you do is you give them all the parameters, what you want. In our case, we need a lot of surface area. We need a 90-degree heel. We need, this, that, and the other thing. And so then you go back and forth, and then you come up with the design. And then you go to blueprint process, which takes about another week or so. These days it's much shorter because you got CAD available. And then it takes another couple of weeks to do what they call a wooden model, but isn't wood. It's really just a plastic model of the actual outsole that you go forward. You decide whether to go forward or change. And then it takes another 3 weeks to cut the steel and make an outsole. So, you're looking at probably 6 weeks to make an outsole. And then the rubber formula, we had, or we developed, or we were ongoing development. So then you make samples, ship to the US and test, and of course fail and start all over again. So that's kind of the process. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
What were some, like what made you go back to the drawing board? Like whenever you're testing, is it on actual people that are on slippery floors and they're just like running and trying out the tread? Like, how does that look like? What does that look like?
Yeah. So the test is the acid test of slip resistance is smooth steel with glycerol on it. And so it's an international test, and it's very difficult to pass. I mean, if you talk to the lab, I mean, it's almost impossible. And so we just kept revising the compound, and we would get and then it was just really by chance that we were on not a Zoom call, but we were just on a call with our guys overseas. And our rubber technician said, well, I think the strike point of the forefoot and the heel is wrong. And we're like, what? And he goes, yeah, you need to change this angle. So we revised the mold, made boots, and voila, we were there.
Wow.
And that's when we went forward to make real boots.
Wow. I don't think the average person, me, would think something so technical about the boot, the angle. I can't even imagine, probably just like half a degree. I mean, just because the small. Yeah, that's fascinating. And so was that your aha moment, would you say?
That was it. I mean, that was a great day here. I mean, just, that was a day where you go, wow, we did it, or we got it. And, the difficult part, of course, the difficult part after that is to replicate that every single time. And so that then it gets back to the, who you have in the factory, who you have making the molds. And so, we test, like at Boggs, we used to test our cold box rating every single production run. We would make sure that we'd pull random boots and test to make sure that they would be tested at -40. In this case, we pull random boots from every production run, which we've only had a few, but we pull them, test them for slip resistance, just to make sure that whoever buys the boots is assured that it's going to be functionally correct every time.
Wow, that's amazing. And I wish if you could share what it's like to find a factory in China that meets your standard, because I know that, there's a stigma around made in China products, though we use them all the time, and there's great products. And then there's products that you're questioning about. So how did you determine that your factory that you're going to work with was the best one? And what do their practices look like when creating shoes?
So it probably starts with Boggs and my wife going to China. And the first thing we would do when we go in the factory is go in the bathroom and see if it's clean and tidy, and would you use it? And and then from there you look at the factory floor, the organization, because they can do, any factory can clean up for a day or two if they know you're coming. So we would try not to announce that we're going to be there, and just go in and look on a normal day and just see, is this factory organized? We go in the materials room, see if the materials is it clean? Are the materials organized? Is it in a climate controlled space? I mean, all these little things. And the other thing is you go out on the factory floor and you see if the workers are happy. And that's super important. We would always insist that, whoever made Boggs, they got paid, are they getting paid well? And are their benefits getting paid? And then the other thing is you eat it, instead of going out and eating in a restaurant, you eat in the factory. So you eat the same food, see how the food is. And all just, little tiny things that you could tell. So you can walk in a factory and almost immediately go, these guys are good or these guys are not so good. And there really are, grades of factory A, B, C, D, and you hate to say that, cheap products are made in cheap factories, but it's true. And so we probably pay more, but we expect the best. And so this place that we're in, I've known the owner for a long, long, long time, and they just make fantastic product.
It's amazing that you're able to have so much thought behind that, which is so important to a lot of people. And also to be able to have a shoe that's at a competitive price. It's not crazy extravagant. It's 150 to 155 is the range.
Yeah, 140 for soft toe, 150 for hard toe. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Easy. And also from what I've seen on your testimonials, these boots last an entire season where it looks like they've almost haven't been worn because of the rubber technology that you're using.
That's been the surprise. We knew we had the slip resistance down and we knew we had the chemical resistance, but the surprise so far has been not only in the fishing industry, but in breweries and also the dairy guys, is the wear has been super. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really know why. It just is.
Yeah. So. Sounds like the karma is part of that for sure. That's great. I mean, especially for, part as a commercial fisherman, all we want is for our fishermen to be safe. And we want to know what is an affordable and a great, easy way for us to, show our love and care. And that is with their boots and finding the right gear and, helping them source the right product. So I'm really thankful that y'all are on the market to give us another option to try out and see how we like it. And on that note, actually I had a question before talking about that glycerin testing on the steel. Is that something that every boot company must go through if it's a work boot to be on the market, whether they pass it or not? Do they have to go through that test, or is this something that you guys decided to do on your own?
No, hardly anybody goes that far.
Yeah, because they're afraid of the results probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but yes, that's true.
Okay. So I'm putting words, I'll put the words in my mouth. So speaking of that, could you tell us about the military level testing that your boots go through? Because that's a whole other thing.
I mean, we use a lab in Tennessee, Precision Labs, that does a lot of testing for the military. And I don't know how to say this, but if you test overseas, you can probably get any result you want if you pay enough, if you will. Yeah. Versus, you test domestically with Precision, there's no gray area. There, you don't get to talk to the technician, you don't get to talk to the people who did the test. It's just send the boots and we'll send you the results. And, it's pass or fail.
Wow. So, yeah. That's amazing. And y'all A+ got that one out. That's great. And so, so what do you hope is the biggest takeaway? I mean, there's so many great things about your boots, but what do you hope is the biggest takeaway that users have with your boots compared to others on the market?
Well, that they're the most slip resistant, and secondly, that, they're the most comfortable to wear all day. And, they have a shaft that's because of the rubber compound is really stretchy, but it's also really strong, and that they last a long time.
Yeah. I noticed that your boots, they're super malleable. You can roll them down really easily. And they also, in the notes, saw that if you have like a wider calf, they will stretch with your calf. There's no constraint there. Okay. Yeah.
Today we don't call them wide calves. We call them athletic calves.
Athletic calves. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you have an athletic calf, these are your boots. I got that. And so where, the most important question, where the heck can people find your product and get them under their tree or their holiday gifts for their fishermen?
You can buy them on the website, tahmaboots.com. And we're rolling out to, retailers starting, pretty much now through probably more late in the spring. But yeah, so on the website.
Great. And so, and it's spelled TAHMA boots.com.
Right.
Great. And then what retailers can people expect to look out, or are we revealing that yet?
Not quite yet, because we haven't.
Okay. All right, stay tuned, y'all. It will happen. And I'm sure they can find that on Tahma Boots or Tahma Boots, or however you'd like to pronounce them, but Tahma Boots. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really looking forward to seeing how my husband, Chris, enjoys the boots, and looking forward to sharing an honest review with all of our listeners about your incredible revolutionary footwear. So thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for being here. Your downloads, your reviews mean more than you know, because that's how we know that you are enjoying the podcast. And if you'd like to further support the community, you can tap the subscribe button, share with family and friends, post on socials, or write a review. But you know what? As long as you're getting value, that is all that matters. But if you go that extra step, we truly, truly appreciate it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're a partner of a commercial fisherman looking for more resources on how to navigate this unique lifestyle, from long distance dating to communication to finances to motherhood advice to mental health, safety, you know, all the things. We're building more resources on succession planning and retirement. It's going to be amazing. There's even an option to join the private forum as well if you jump onto POCFpride.com to learn more. We are there for you. We got all of the community and all of the resources you need, and they are continuing to grow as we learn what you need the most. We can't wait to connect with you, and thank you so much again for being here. I need to take a minute to shout out our private forum. It is just getting better and better every day, and I want to take a moment to tell you about how incredible it is. So our private forum is a VIP members-only community with POCFs. It's for you to connect with other partners of commercial fishermen around the world whenever you want, need, or seek support. And the bonuses are that this is the only way that you get access to monthly Zoom calls to connect with other members on topics that are important to you, private podcast series where I publish behind closed doors conversations from guests that you've heard on this podcast. And let me tell you, that's when the tea is spilled. That is the good stuff. It's where they feel comfortable to speak to other POCFs because they are as well. And it's just real nice. Easy to navigate topics so you can join or start conversations with other POCFs as you please. There's no searching and figuring out what people have been talking about. Everything is beautifully categorized. You can jump in to getting married to a fisherman, mom advice, the list goes on and on. This is also the place that you can ask questions or vent with love without judgment. We know you love your fishermen. We also know that it can be tough sometimes with this lifestyle. You can talk to us and we'll never judge you. This is your safe space. This is also this is the place that you have the ability to ask me questions, seek advice, or get feedback. And this is the only way to currently reach me directly. I'm so excited and proud and I'm amazed about how this community has grown. And this is the best way for us all to commune. It's just social medias and emails are kind of getting out of control. And I would love to have our personal connection in this forum. So this is where you can reach me. There's also private resources from money management to mental health, you name it. It's going to be ongoing, added, juicy memory bank of resources constantly for forum members. There's also quarterly virtual events with trusted professionals that focus on the lifestyle challenges that we have and how to overcome them. And you also get first access to annual in-person events and to hang out with your fish sisters in real life, y'all. So if you want to check it out, you can go to meganwaldrop.com/private-forum, and there is the beautiful landing page for you to learn all about these goodies and how to become a member too. We really, really cannot wait to meet you. And if you have any questions, you can email me and my team at support@meganwaldrop.com. I got you. Thanks for listening today. Being here means you're a part of the POCF family, and we wouldn't be a community without you. I'm Megan, and this is the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast. As always, much love, POCF pride, and remember, you are not alone.